Okay, Algebra, we're going to do the last section of Chapter 8. It's called Perfect Squares, and it should be pretty straightforward. If you remember when we learned about special products, if you had something that was the same, like 2x plus 1, and we squared it, all that you had to do, I mean, you could write that out and do FOIL. But all you had to do is, if you remember that it's the same thing times the same thing, is we took the square of that, we took the square of that, and for the middle term here, we multiplied the two together and doubled it, because that's going to be inside times inside, outside times outside. That's why you double it. 1 times 2x is 2x, double it, you get 4x. And that was the way we expanded something like that. Well, you can probably guess what we're going to do now is we're going to do the opposite. We're going to factor something like that. It's kind of like that. There we go. So we're going to factor this. So the first thing we do is we determine if it's in the proper form for a perfect square. And if you think back, what that means is this is going to be a perfect square, which it is. This is going to be a perfect square, which it is. The middle term is going to be the square root of that times the square root of that doubled. So let's just try that. Square root of 4x squared is 2x. The square root of 1 is 1. 1 times 2x is 2x, and double it and you get 4x. So it's in the correct form. So once it's in the correct form, now the hard part's done. Now you know it's just going to be in this form. Square root of this, square root of that, and everything's addition. There you have it. Okay? Let's try a different one. We'll try an example from your book. They give you 4y squared plus 12y plus 9. That's example 1 in your book. So the first thing we do is we just check and see whether this is the correct form. Is this a perfect square? Yes. Is that a perfect square? Yes. The square root of this times the square root of that doubled, we got to see if it turns out to be that. So the square root of that is 2y. The square root of that is 3. 3 times 2y is 6y. Double it and you get 12y. That's perfect. So since this is a perfect square, we can quickly put it in the right form. Square root of this, square root of that, add them, and we're good. Now, in the book, they're going to give you some that don't work out. Let's say that this was immediately, you could rule this one out if it was 8. Well, that's a perfect square, but that's not a perfect square. So they're going to say that that's prime, okay? So it won't work. What if this was 9 again, and this number in the middle was something different? That's a perfect square, that's a perfect square, but the square root of that times the square root of that doubled does not give you 10, so that's not going to work either. Okay? I'm not saying that you might not be able to simplify these, but it's not going to turn out to be a perfect square squared. Okay, that's all for this section. We'll see you tomorrow.